Hi, I'm Sula, and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm making roasted salsa. It's a fantastic way to use fresh in-season produce, especially beautiful ripe tomatoes right when they're coming into their prime. Let's begin. To start, you need about 2 pounds of fresh tomatoes. And to prep the tomatoes, you do want to remove the core. I'd like to use just a paring knife for that. And then cut each one crosswise. With the tomato, we just want to cut thick slices crosswise. This is a yellow onion, by the way. And if you want a hotter salsa, you can use a white onion. I like to calm it down a little bit. The only other ingredients are 2 jalapeno peppers, which I'm going to leave whole for roasting, and 3 nice big garlic cloves. I'm also leaving these. You notice I haven't peeled them or anything. We're going to roast them just as is and then deal with the rest of the prep after they're roasted. I'm going to place all of my tomatoes first on this roasting pan. I did line it with foil. Put the cut side down and just kind of spread them out on this pan. Add in the slices of onion, the whole jalapeno peppers, and the 3 garlic cloves. With that, it's ready to go. These will go in the broiler, and we will have to then remove these in stages. And I'll tell you what those stages are in just a moment. After 3 minutes of roasting, we're going to turn these jalapenos so that they roast a little more evenly, and then put this back in the oven. 3 more minutes of roasting. So it's been 6 minutes so far. We're now going to remove the garlic and the peppers. And the slices of onion get turned. These now, just the onions and tomatoes, go back in the oven under the broiler for another 10 minutes. Now the tomatoes are done, and I just wanted to show you what these look like once they're roasted. You can see they all have charred edges. Don't look at that as a negative. That's a whole lot of the fire roasted flavor that I like to think of it as, and that's just a ton of flavor to your final salsa. So this first step, you can use either a blender or a food processor. Today I'm going to use a food processor. And what we're going to do is take all 3 of the roasted garlic that we've already peeled and half of the tomatoes. Be sure to leave the rest of them because we're going to deal with those separately. And with that, we're going to close our food processor and process. Not yet. What I'm trying for is a pretty smooth consistency to this liquid, and I think we have achieved it. So I will set that aside for now and then start preparing the other ingredients. The rest of the tomatoes I am going to put in a colander or strainer. Either right now I'm doing it over a bowl. You can certainly do it just in the sink. What we're trying to do is get rid of some of the excess liquid in these. And so wait until they're a little bit cool and then just give them a squeeze to kind of squeeze out some of that excess liquid. You're also going to want to chop up those jalapeno peppers. To do that, remove the stem, of course. I'd like to cut them in half, remove the seeds and all of the membrane. This is the part of a jalapeno pepper that actually gives it its extreme heat, and if you leave all that in, you probably will not be able to stand how hot the salsa is. And once the seeds and membrane are taken out, you simply chop up your jalapenos. I like to slice them lengthwise first and then make crosswise cuts to do the dicing. And now we're going to do the same thing to the onions. We'll chop these up by hand so that we still have a nice texture in our salsa. Again, don't be afraid of the charred bits. All of that is adding a depth of flavor to the salsa that you otherwise wouldn't have. Okay, with everything chopped now, we're going to finish with these tomatoes. I do this step so that I end up with salsa that has a little bit more body to it rather than just being kind of soupy. This is all kind of mushed already, but I do like to chop it up just to make sure I don't have giant chunks of tomato when I get a scoop of salsa on a chip. It's all got to fit, right? And then just add this to your bowl of the puree, the tomatoes, and the onions. Now this is starting to cool pretty well. I mean, clearly I can handle the components, but you do want to let this cool a little bit more before you add the final ingredients to the bowl. The final ingredients are cilantro and lime juice. You want about 2 tablespoons of finely chopped cilantro. There's a lot of leeway here, so if you absolutely love cilantro, of course you can add more. I encourage you to start with a lesser amount and add as needed. And last, of course, are 2 tablespoons of lime juice. You'll need at least half a lime for this. It's going to depend upon, of course, the size of your lime and how juicy it is. And I do have an old school juicer, which is how I prefer to juice my citrus. This one does not look that juicy. So I am going to go ahead and squeeze out the other half. And since I'm not exactly sure how much I have, I am going to measure this. If you've ever wondered why you get a 1/8 cup measure when you get a set of measuring spoons, this is when it comes in really handy. 1/8 of a cup is exactly 2 tablespoons. And that is just perfect. We just stir our ingredients together. And with that, we have a beautiful bowl of roasted salsa, ready for your chips. Let's give it a try, shall we? Delicious. It has that fresh tomatoey taste with that little bit of charred taste from the roasting of the tomatoes, and the tang of the lime juice just kind of really comes through. It's wonderful. It's not too hot. If you want it hotter, you can certainly make it hotter using serrano peppers instead of jalapenos, or including the membranes and seeds, as I mentioned. Lots of flexibility with this one. I hope you give it a try soon. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and follow. Thank you.